What's up? It is Jacob from Team IdaBros, aka Team HOC 2009. It's been a long time since we put up any sort of video or anything like that, and I'm driving to work, pretty easy drive, so thought that I would put a quick recap of YCS Salt Lake City. What was it, last week? We ended up going, and it was a pretty interesting event. I mean, as everybody knows at this point, it was a super small, at least in comparison to a majority of the YCS's. For attendance-wise, it was, a little over 500 under 6, which definitely was pretty crazy going into the convention center. For pre-reg, for everything, it was pretty empty, at least compared to what the last YCS that we went to was up in Seattle last year. So super huge difference in terms of attendance. Overall, it was a super fun trip. It was good times, in that aspect, but pretty much everybody from Idaho as a whole scrubbed out. We did have 2 people, I believe, from the state that ended up going to day 2. But unfortunately did not make top 32 cut, which was kind of depressing. But shout outs to them. They did represent at least as much as they could going to day 2. That was pretty awesome. The actual event itself, in terms of my experience, round 1, played mirror match. I was playing Draco. So played mirror match, went into time on game 3. Ended up losing in time. For me, I feel like a big thing in that matchup is I had not actually been able to do any sort of playtesting against super meta decks. I was able to play a little bit against some dino matches, some other random stuff, but I wasn't able to get any mirror matches in, any pen magician, pretty much anything that was super relevant. Unfortunately, I didn't get to playtest at all because everything was kind of last minute. I put the deck together a week before we left, and didn't really get to play at all. Either way, misplays on that one was I think it was in game 2 or game 3. He set one card, and then he went to set the other, and I had a Cyclone face down. And I believe, and I'm sure if anybody actually watches this, correct me if I'm wrong, but I should have stopped him at that point and been respond to the set and play the Cyclone, because he was able to go through and tribute both of them for a Draco, or a Masterpiece, that he was able to sit on for the remainder of game 3 that ultimately led to the push. So that sucked. It, starting out losing record, never super awesome, but went on to round 2. Round 2, I played Matt, which at this point, probably anybody that watches the videos is most likely local, but he's the other person that started this channel way back in 2009 or 10 when it started back up. He had the camera, all that kind of good stuff. He actually lives with me and my family right now, so we're roommates. So essentially we drove all the way to Salt Lake for something that we could have done in our living room. So that was fun. He was playing a 40 card Lightsworn Dino deck ish. It was kind of essentially the 60 card without the grass and extra shit. So that was fun. We ended up going into time again in game 3, and I ended up pulling out the win. So that was good. So at this point I'm 1-1. Went into round 3. Round 3, the name looks super familiar. It's Alex, and I'm like, man, that, because it has first name, middle name, and last initial. Man, that Alex C, that seems super familiar. So I go sit down, and it's Simo, so Alex Simo, which was super cool. Super cool guy. He's playing Spiral. He has his deck list up on his channel, of course. But I was like, oh man, that's super cool opportunity to play a big YouTuber. So it was pretty cool. Of course, yeah, he's playing Spiral. Same thing, you know, I just haven't really played very much. Honestly, the only reason I was able to go to the YCS was because it was really close to home. So we played Spiral. He got game 1. I got game 2. We went into time again, game 3. And he was just able to push. At one point, I was sitting on a skill drain, and it was putting in a lot of work. But he was able to break my board in the sense of like my monster side. And he had, I can't remember, no super big monsters. It might have been like a tough and something else, but I still had the skill drain up. But it got to the point where I was, you know, game 3 so close on in life points that I had to get a monster out. So I ended up having to tribute my skill drain to get a monster out. Which, like, obviously if I had to do that play, I was already in a bad position to start with. And we were able to get a couple more turns past that, but without the skill drain, and I didn't draw into Erupt or anything like that. He was able to go off, and I didn't have anything to do about it, or, you know, say about it. So he got it. It was, again, super good game, though. It was pretty fun. So that was round 3. Round 4, I played Pin Magicians, except it didn't have any Electromite, and it was playing like really odd filler cards. Honestly, I mean, he was a cool guy. He was younger, probably like 15, 16, something like that. But I was able to go 2-0 on that one. Next round, so that was round 4. Round 5, I played another person from Idaho. So I played Daniel. He's from Mountain Home, which is just a little south of where we live up here. Super close, same locals and everything like that. So again, went all the way to Utah to play somebody that I could play, you know, any other weekend. He was playing an Invoke deck, no Mech Knight. I believe it was pure. But went through 2-0 on that one as well. I just had the answers. It was able to do what it was supposed to do. So that was round 5, round 5. Going into round 6, played a 60 card zombie sword, or, you know, whatever it's called now. And it was, I did not know this at the time, but it was Mike. Well, I knew it was, obviously, like, I knew who it was. His name was Mike. But I did not know, like, who he was. So I played another big YouTuber, Slim, right? From, it's Simply Slim? Yu-Gi-Oh? Yeah? Either way, he has lots of subs. He was super cool. Again, another really chill opponent. We went into... No, we did not. He O2'd. I got wrecked. The play that really stood out to me is on game 2, I was able to establish Imperial Iron Wall, and I think it was Erupt. So I had a pretty decent lock, and then I had a face down and a diagram, and he twin twistered me and cleared 2 of them out, right, opening, and then he went into Saryuja that same turn and did the draw effect and drew into another twin twisters. So he essentially on one turn, like, cleared all my back row, and I couldn't get enough advantage back because I sunk so many resources into establishing what I had at that point. So, like, Draco obviously won. It's a super good deck, but I feel like mid to late game, when you don't have enough, like, if you lose all your resources, you can't top deck out of it, right? You're sitting on a bunch of tribute monsters and a bunch of back row. So like nothing inherently by itself against an established board really is going to do too much. So either way, he was super cool. Beat me, wrecked my life. That was round 6. And then round 7, I played Johnny. So Johnny Asian Persuasion, longtime super amazing YouTuber. And I feel like even sitting down, the first thing that I noticed is he in person is exactly like how he is in his videos. Super cool dude. Very light, and we had a good time. And the funny thing though is he was playing the exact same deck, card for card, except one. He had one card difference from Mike. So the person that I previously had just got fucking wrecked by, same exact 60 card deck. Only difference is I believe they sided into kaijus. I can't remember if it was sided or mained, but Mike played the wind kaiju, I believe it was, and Johnny played the light Jizukuru, I believe it is, the big 33 or 35 beater. Anyway, so that was crazy. I played the same deck, card for card, -1, back to back for rounds in this YCS. So I mean, at this point, I've played 2 people. One lives with me, right? 2 people from Idaho. One lives with me. One, that we've known for a bit. I've played 3 big YouTubers, and then a mirror match and a pendulum kid. So moving into Johnny's match. Significant. I was able to pull off what was it, Drowning Mirror Force, which retrospect was a terrible choice. I'll be honest with you, I didn't read it. I did not know until the event, and it's my fault, obviously, like super scrub move, that it had to be a direct attack to put him back to deck. I thought it was any attack, which obviously would be a lot better, which is probably why nobody's playing it. But the reason why I bring that up is in that match, Johnny had a super good established board. I want to say it was 4 or 5 monsters, including the extra monster zone, right? And he went for a direct attack, and I was able to play the Drowning Mirror Force. First time all day. Every single match, I sided it out. Just, it wasn't good, and I flipped it, and I was able to use it one time against him. And it was so funny. He was like, man, I've never seen anybody play that in Draco, this and that, man. I gotta respect the Mirror Force and this and that. And it was super funny. Like, again, super awesome guy. Definitely, the same personality that you see in videos and everything like that. It was a good time. Either way, I lost. He ended up being able to slumber me, and I had a masterpiece that was immune, but he gave me a Gamma Seal, and he had the Jizukuru, right? So he had the big beats, and I had Imperial Iron Wall up that I had up for a good amount of time, so I couldn't banish for Masterpiece's effect, so I essentially just had to take this gigantic right to the face. It was the money shot was there, like it was terrible. So I went through, I lost, I ended up dropping after that. I mean, again, pretty fun matches all day. Honestly, I wasn't too salty at all. The only time that was super annoying during the day is against the match with Simo. He didn't do anything at all. There was a judge that was just kind of like sitting right behind him. I think just like looking at his hand, I don't know. Just sitting right behind him, and again, my scrubby self, I thought that, so it was his end phase, he had 1 set, no monsters. I activate Apocalypse and go to tribute a heritage that I had out. I thought that because it didn't target, like, that they didn't need to have monsters for it to activate, even though it's to half the attack and defense. My bad. It didn't cause any board interactions. Like, I still could have activated. I still could have flipped it face up. I just couldn't have tributed to half and blah blah blah. But this judge was standing right there and was like, "Hey, you can't do that." I was like, "Okay, why?" He explained why. And I'm like, "Okay, fair enough. My bad. I didn't know that." And he's like, "Okay, well, I'm gonna have to give you a warning for that." I was like, "What?" Just let it go. Like, obviously, it's one of those where I feel like, you argue against that stuff, it becomes worse. Simo was like, "Dude, don't worry about it. Like, you're not. It's not gonna be a problem for the rest of the tournament. Don't even trip." So he talked me down a little bit. I still was, that again, only part, even with all the losses and everything like that, that I was a little salty about. Not, I mean, again, it didn't affect anything. I was just like, man, like, I'm seeing people, fuck up and not being able to reverse the game state, like, do these mess ups that make a difference. And here I am, like, literally nothing on the board ended up changing. And he's like, "Warning," whatever. Anyways, rant over. That was fun. It was a good trip. Hopefully there's something else. I don't really foresee Salt Lake getting a YCS, anything above a regional ever again. The attendance just wasn't there. And I was hearing a lot of different things. It sounded like airfare was super high. And I mean, it was right during the time where spring breaks and stuff were. So I mean, I guess that makes sense. I heard a couple different people couldn't find any direct flights, so they had to do like a lot of layovers and stuff like that. So it sounded like there was a lot more working against it than just where it was. So hopefully maybe Seattle gets one again. It would be cool seeing one in Portland. I think Portland probably might be close to the same thing, where they might not just get the same turnout. Seattle probably is going to be where it's at, because you have everybody coming from Canada and California, and those inherently are going to be a lot bigger. Like, I think the Seattle one that we went to had like 1,300, or maybe a little bit less. Maybe it was closer to 12, but like tremendous, like over double what this Salt Lake one had. But anyways, we're gonna try and get some more videos up. I'll be honest with you, I can't promise anything, just because I don't feel like if I have anything interesting to say, like if I don't have something to say, then like why make a video of it? Like, it doesn't really make sense. Either way, this is Jake, Team IdaBros. Peace.